Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is part 8 of our series of frequently asked JavaScript interview questions. Let's begin. First question is, what is event loop in JavaScript? So you can answer this question as event loop is a mechanism that handles asynchronous operations in JavaScript. So event loop is a mechanism helpful in asynchronous operations, ensuring that they are executed in non-blocking manner. Okay, so let me explain you clearly what event loop means. So in event loop, there are some parts of it. So how does our JavaScript code run? There is something called as call stack. Okay, so this is call stack. So call stack, this is where the code runs. So it's pushed into call stack. So every code which is run one by one, they are pushed into call stack, and this happens in LIFO manner, that is last in first out, like that. So whichever was put in last, that will be executed at first. This is what is called as call stack. Then we have something called as task queue. In task queue we have the micro task queue and macro task queue. Let us suppose these are two queues in our task queue. Okay, completely task queue. Now there is something called as event loop here. Okay, this is a mechanism, event loop. So this keeps checking, event loop keeps checking that whether call stack is empty or not. So call stack will have all the synchronous operations happening, and task queue will be listed with the asynchronous operation like set timeout, promises, API calls. So these things are there in task queue and synchronous things are there in call stack. So event loop keeps checking one by one that whether task queue is empty. If it is empty, then what it will do, it will go and get the most important, like promises are considered as most important in the synchronous operation. Then there is set timeout and set interval. So this will go and check the most important asynchronous operation, and once call stack is empty, it will get the value from here. It will take that function and it is going to put that function again in call stack, and then call stack executes the asynchronous operation. So this is how event loop works. But for definition you can say this much: in case interviewer is asking you more about event loop, then you can explain them about call stack, you can explain them about task queue, which has macro task queue and micro task queue, where promises are having more priority when compared to set timeout and set interval. And event loops keeps checking here in call stack that if current synchronous tasks are empty, once it is finished, then it will get the most important function from task queue and it is going to put it in the call stack, and then in call stack our asynchronous operations are executed. Okay, let's see next question. Our next question is, what is difference between null, undefined and undeclared? So we have discussed on the difference of null, undefined in the previous video, but this is also very important question where interviewer is trying to confuse you with the three keywords. Now not only two, null and undefined, there is also something called as undeclared. So let's see. Null is explicitly no value is assigned. It is like you have assigned null. Okay, it is like assigned value. So explicitly assigned value is null. Null means nothing, so you have assigned it. Whereas undefined is like you have declared but you have not assigned value yet. So you have not assigned value, there is difference. Okay, assigning null is like assigning nothing and it is intentional. Undefined is like you have just declared it but you have not assigned. In future you can assign it with some value, 1 2 3 string or something else, boolean, so you can assign it in future. Okay, it is not intentional. This is by default given to us in JavaScript. If you declare variable you have not initialized, then by default their value will become undefined. Next we have is undeclared. So undeclared is like variable that you have not declared yet. It is not even declared yet. It's like trying to access some random variable which is not even there in your code. This, there is a spelling mistake here, slight spelling mistake. So yeah, undeclared is like you are trying to access some variable which is not even there yet in your code base. That is what is called as undeclared. Let's see our next question. Next question is explain the concept of event driven programming. So what do you mean by event driven programming? So event driven programming is a paradigm where the flow of program is determined by events. Okay, because it is called as event driven because everything like the flow of how program will be executed is determined by events. Events can be like user actions. User action can be clicking, scrolling, or anything else, like you're trying to select a button, or you're trying to select some value in drop down, you're clicking on submit button, you're submitting your form, that is called as user action. Next is network request. Network request is like API call. So there are some places where you see API call comes. Once you get the API result, then UI, in UI we have to show something extra. So that is what, once you get the request, you are checking in your UI part that once you get the request, you are going to do some kind of calculation and show it to the user in user interface. That is called as network request. Or timer events. Timer events can be set interval or set timeout, that after certain interval you are supposed to do some task, and that is how your code will also run, rather than being strictly sequential. Sequential is like first line, second, third, fourth, fifth. It is like that. That is called as sequential. But in timer, like event driven, for example, if you see timer, there can be something sequential happening, but there will also be a timer that after certain interval of time I am supposed to execute some other logic also. That is called as event driven programming. And this is very important question. Not many people know what event driven programming is. So you can clearly mention in your interview, if you are asked with this question, that this is a paradigm where the flow of program is determined by the events. And events can be anything like user actions, it can be network requests, or timer events. Let's see our next question. What is difference between synchronous and asynchronous JavaScript? So let me ask you a question. Is JavaScript synchronous programming language, or is it asynchronous? Like what does it support by default? So let me know in comment. We have already discussed on this. You can do your own research, you can check other videos in which we have discussed. So let me know in comment what JavaScript is like by default, what does it support. So let's see. Answer: synchronous JavaScript. So synchronous JavaScript executes code sequentially, blocking further execution until current operation is completed. Okay, that is what is called as synchronous. So synchronous is nothing but like one by one you will be doing the task, whereas asynchronous JavaScript allows multiple operations to be executed concurrently without blocking the main execution thread. Okay, so synchronous is like it is blocking, whereas asynchronous is non-blocking. That is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous JavaScript. Let's see our next question. Our last question is, how do you handle errors in JavaScript? So errors in JavaScript can be handled using try catch block. Try catch is very general syntax which is used in multiple programming languages, and in JavaScript also we make use of try catch block to handle and catch the exception and handle our errors gracefully, preventing the program from crashing. Let's see an example here. So in example, if you see what have we done, first we have a function. Okay, here we are having a function called validate input, in which we are writing if input is empty string. If input, whatever user is entering, is empty string, then we will throw a error, input cannot be empty. In case they are not giving us number, so input is string, and in previous video we have discussed what nan is. This means that is nan, is it not a number? So if it is not a number, then we will tell that input must be number, you have to enter number, you cannot enter some string or boolean value. And then once everything is fine, all checks are done, then we will return the number format of this. Okay, so how do we handle if there is some kind of error? Here we are throwing error, right? New error, new error. Then if error comes, then there are chances our program might crash. So how do we handle? We have try and catch block. In this we are writing just prompt and getting the user input. In case there is some kind of error, then our error will fall into catch block, and here we have console.log, and here we will be handling that error. So catch is useful for catching or catching the exception or getting the error, and try is where you don't get error, you are just writing your logic. These are 5 questions we have discussed in this video. If you have learned anything and you found this video to be helpful, then do give a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any feedback, you can let me know in the comment section. Your support motivates me to make more such contents. So let me know if there is any feedback, and thanks for watching.